Last week, I gave you the exit. The move from being a thought to seeing one. A change of position, not a change of content. Tonight, I have to close a door. Because a lot of you heard that episode and quietly translated it into the thing you were already doing. You decided to think about the loop, to analyze it, to sit down with your own restlessness the way you'd sit down with a hard problem at work and figure it out. I understand why. Analysis is the best tool you own. It got you through school. It earns your living. It has solved real problems with real edges, and it has never once let you down in the places where it belongs. So when the mind turned on you, you did the reasonable thing. You pointed your best tool at the new problem, and you have been pointing it there. Some of you for years, with total confidence and nothing to show for it. Here is what nobody told you. That wasn't thinking. It was something impersonating thinking. The loop learned to dress up as problem solving, because problem solving is the one activity you will never interrupt. It looks like work. It feels like diligence. It produces nothing except its own next lap. The 4th century map we've been reading has a line about this trap, and we'll get to it. But first, I want to show you the mechanism, because once you see how the costume is stitched, it stops fitting. Here is the feeling the loop runs on. One more think through, and I'll have it. You know this feeling. It is the sense that the answer is close, that the problem is 90% solved, and one more careful pass will close the gap. So, you take the pass. You open the decision spreadsheet for the 9th time, and the columns are the same columns, and the weights are the same weights, and somehow the answer still won't settle. You lie awake, building contingency trees for a conversation that may never happen. If they say this, I say that. If they take it badly, I have the fallback ready. You research the worry until 2 in the morning and call it due diligence. And at the end of the lap, the answer is exactly where it was, 90% close. It never arrives, and it never recedes. It hangs there almost forever. This is not because you are doing the analysis badly. It is because the feeling of almost solved is not information about the problem, so it is a product of the lap itself. Each pass around the loop manufactures exactly enough incompleteness to justify the next pass. The lap manufactures the incompleteness that justifies the next lap. Sit with that sentence, because it is the whole mechanism. You are not approaching a finish line. The lap is producing the finish line and moving it at the same time, with the same motion. A track doesn't end somewhere. That is what makes it a track. Now, the part that stings. Smart people lose this game worse, not despite the intelligence, because of it. Skill at analysis makes the impersonation more convincing. Your spirals have citations. Your dread comes with contingency trees. Your 3 a.m. catastrophes are organized into pro and con tables, cross-referenced, revised nightly. The machinery is superb. It is also pointed at a problem that is not made of information. A worry about a conversation next Thursday does not contain missing data that one more pass will surface. There is nothing in there to find. The analysis runs anyway, because running is what it does, and every clean-looking pass makes the whole operation feel more legitimate. In the first episode of this series, I made you a promise that your intelligence was not the defect, and that we would eventually explain what actually went wrong. Here is that promise, kept. You didn't lose because you're bad at analysis. You lost because the tool was the problem. The old map is blunt about why. The tool is made of the same material as the problem. Using thought to end thought is chasing the grasp with the grasper. And the classical line, kept deliberately short tonight, is that the grasper and the grasped arise together, two ends of a single motion. The Yogācāra terms are grahaka and grahaya, and they deserve their own night, so we will leave them there. For now, remember the seeds. Every lap was a rep. Every night of due diligence watered the same seed and made tonight's lap a little easier to start. So how do you tell them apart? Thinking, and the thing impersonating it? Not by how it feels. The impersonation feels exactly like thinking. That is its entire job. You tell them apart by what they produce. And there is one honest question that does it, and it takes 5 seconds to ask. Has this lap produced one new fact, or one decision I will act on? That is the whole diagnostic. Real problem-solving terminates. It ends in an action. Send the message, book the appointment, pick the apartment, or it ends in an acceptance, I cannot know this yet, and more thinking will not change that. But either way, it stops, because it arrived somewhere. The impersonation never terminates in an action or an acceptance. It terminates in a feeling. A brief drop in the dread, a small exhale, a sense of having done something. And then, an hour later, hungry again. If your think-throughs reliably end in relief instead of decisions, you were not solving, you were feeding. Modern clinical work draws roughly this same line. 2 modes of engaging a difficulty: an abstract why-oriented dwelling and a concrete what-now-oriented engagement. The first predicts staying stuck. The second predicts movement. Same coordinates, 16 centuries apart. The resemblance is not subtle. And notice what the question does not ask. It does not ask whether the worry is reasonable. It does not ask whether the fear might come true. It ignores the content entirely and audits the output, which is last week's move, applied to analysis itself. You are not arguing with the lap. You are watching what it produces. Let me be clear about what this episode is not saying. This channel is not against thinking. Some problems are made of information, and for those, analysis is exactly the right tool. Which route, which contract, which line of the budget is wrong? Think those through with everything you have and finish. The question was never whether to think. The question new is whether this particular activity, tonight, is thinking. What we are against is thought impersonating action. The rehearsal that feels like preparation and prepares nothing. The research that feels like due diligence and is actually a feeding schedule. And here is the part to keep. The exit from a loop is never at the content level. You cannot rearrange the storm from inside the storm. The exit is the position from last week, stepping back to where the thought is a thing seen rather than a place lived. Plus, sometimes, one small act. Send the one message. Ask the one question you have been modeling both sides of for a week. An act the size of a sentence often ends a loop that 1,000 laps could not touch. One boundary, and it is the same one every time. This is philosophy, not therapy. If the loops feel less like a habit and more like something frightening, if your own mind is scaring you, a real person beats any video, and a professional beats both. This channel can hand you a map. It cannot sit in the room with you. Some things require someone who can. Tonight's practice is called the lap audit. It is not a meditation, and it does not need a cushion. Once today, or tomorrow, if you're hearing this in bed, catch yourself mid-analysis, mid-spreadsheet, mid-rehearsal, mid-research. Stop and ask the question, has this lap produced one new fact or one decision I will act on? If the answer is yes, finish the thought, genuinely. Take it all the way to its action or its acceptance and let it terminate. If the answer is no, label it. One word, lap. Say it flatly the way an accountant reads a line item. Then return to whatever your hands were doing. The dishes, the walk, the key in the door. Notice what this practice is not. It is not forbidding analysis. You may think as much as you want. You are billing it. From tonight, every lap shows up on an invoice. And the loop has run on your account for years, precisely because nobody was keeping the books. If you forget to do it, you forgot. There is no penance here. The audit works the same tomorrow. Next week, the other door. When analysis fails, most people reach for the opposite tool. Positive thinking. Replace the bad thought with a good one. Fight the storm with better weather. Next week, why that is also watering, and what the map says to do instead. Until then, the assignment is small. One lap, one question, one word. You do not have to win. Seen is enough.